Thank you, thank you. It's so wonderful to see you all, and thank you, Rory, for the introduction. I think of GTCs in the healthcare and life sciences ecosystem as one, a family reunion. I'm so happy to see Pat here because I go back and I think Pat's been coming to GTC since 2012, where Schrodinger and molecular dynamics, one of the earliest CUDA applications. I also see friends. Thomas Fuchs, I know, is here. The lights are going to get me. Thomas Fuchs, are you here? Is he here? Did he go? Okay, he's here somewhere. Andy Beam, are you here? Are you here? Are you here, friends? He's here because he's participating in some of the other panels. But these are, and they were here in 2017. And so that's what I mean by a family reunion. We're always welcoming friends back. And then we have some incredible new faces. So I also think of GTC as like a wedding, right? So you have some of your old friends and family, you're introducing them to new ones, and you're making connections. How many of you have been to a wedding where you made some lifelong connections? You discovered something about somebody you never knew. Weddings are pretty transformative to my life. I really enjoy them. And so I like to think of those two things when I come to GTC and I get to see wonderful familiar faces who are all gunning for the same purpose, to see a different future of healthcare together. And we are honored as NVIDIA to be partnered up with you and help build that future together. GTC is our moment to celebrate so much of the wonderful work that you do. And I do also have a lot of content to cover, which is why Jensen was essentially apologizing on stage. He loves healthcare. If any of you have ever met him, which many of you have, he's very gracious. He comes to a lot of our receptions. It is absolutely, he put it in press in 2016, the same time he was delivering Elon Musk, the DGX-1. We were delivering one to a hospital in Boston, and he said, this is the most important application space for AI. And we obviously have great conviction on that here today. I'm going to take a moment because not everybody in DC is as familiar with technology. Many of the faces in the room are. But to just re-describe what Jensen showed you in some insane scale of what we do and who we are as NVIDIA, and then why we do it. A lot of people are like, NVIDIA's in healthcare? What do you mean? And we are not a healthcare company. We never desire to be a healthcare company. We'll never sell healthcare SaaS solutions. But we are a company that does what people know us for. We build chips and systems, and we have the connectivity with Mellanox. And we have reinvented the company several times now to go from a systems company to a data center company to now an infrastructure company, which Jensen gave you an incredible overview of that amazing grand challenge we have for the global scale. But really where the healthcare team starts to come in is at the acceleration layer where CUDA is. It comes at AI. If any of you know intelligence, I think we are intelligent. You probably went to school and you specialized in something. Artificial intelligence is by nature domain specific. So we've got to think about it in that domain. And then you saw a bunch of really cool simulation, digital twins and rendering and real-time physics. Well, that is imperative to this industry too, and I hope that I can open your mind to see how that's going to be such a big part of our future together. And then we keep going up the stack. We build domain-specific libraries, we build domain-specific models, and then we even build full-stack domain-specific platforms because there's a lot of application spaces in healthcare that really are the superset of computational problems. Real-time surgical robotics would be one of those. And we partner with you, all of you in this audience, who are working at the application layer, who are the domain experts, the subject matter experts, because if we don't know anything about that layer, how would we know what to build on the layers below? So that's how NVIDIA works, and that's why we exist. Alex, is that you? Hi. See, family reunion. She's NVIDIA, now at Verily. Good to see you. Okay, so let's keep on going. Jensen showed a similar slide here. This is our true treasure at NVIDIA, and we continue to add to this collection of acceleration domain-specific modules that we build, largely informed by the work that we're doing together. I talked a little bit about our history. Image recon was actually the first healthcare application. We were working with the folks in that space in CT reconstruction. So FFTs are fantastic mathematical operation for a lot of applications, but super important. And the only way we could do the new image reconstruction techniques, the only way we're going to get photon counting CT to where it needs to be. But it had all these other amazing features that it needed. In fact, it needed to be 3D FFTs. We were building 2D FFTs for other applications. And so again, that application awareness is what allows us to build amazing libraries. Of course, cuBLAS was what enabled us to do awesome MD simulations. And you see here just a growing library, and I'm going to put a lot of these into context and action. And you're going to see how the partner ecosystem of NVIDIA gets to benefit from this. Because what Jensen said is so important is all of this software runs on the entirety of the NVIDIA install base. The whole programming model is coherent across every platform we make, from a small credit card-sized computer all the way to that very large AI infrastructure and AI factories that you just showed that he showed you in the cloud. Something that just happened about a week and a half ago, our friends at the Broad, Roche Sequencing, and Boston Children's, they broke another and were awarded the Guinness World Record for the fastest sequencing technique. A lot of effort here is done to imagine using genomic sequencing as a more standard of care, and especially in the NICU, or where you have very, very short times where you need to start getting out of the diagnostic odyssey and getting into a diagnosis to really take the patient's care pathways in a much more accelerated and and precise way. We were part of the last time this was awarded to a very large conglomerate at Stanford, and that's part of that winning was the sequencing analysis. It's not the winner, right? Parabricks was a contributor to it, and we work with Roche and their new SBX technology to do some incredible processing. So this is what we love. We love to do something that is record-breaking or the world's never seen before, and so I invite all of you to think like that when you think about working with NVIDIA. So one of the things Jensen talks a lot about is biology, because it is going to be, I think Mark from Zara said it great today, what math is to physics, AI is to biology, and I think he quoted someone else, so I don't mean to steal that. But we can obviously feel that same feeling. The wonderful and incredible and Nobel Prize winning breakthrough of AlphaFold and the DeepMind team really woke up the idea of how science is going to be completely transformed with AI, and it really created the dawn of AI. And all along the way, we're building things, we're doing things at a chip level, and we're creating these cuDNN algorithms to make the applications go faster. And as you can see, the capabilities. We want to not just go from pattern matching and using CNNs, but the transformer was born, and so we were able to actually go from sequence to structure prediction, solving what was otherwise a 50-year-old biology problem. And a lot of new models were entering, a lot of labs were starting to be able to heat up and take advantage and add their own value here. And what I think is, what we're seeing now is this new third generation. AlphaFold 3 was groundbreaking, and we're moving into, also again, to use Mark's words, and we talked about it a lot, how can we move into a design or an engineering discipline when we're thinking about biology and drug discovery? And these models are starting to exhibit that. So this third generation, you can now see more and more models that are very, very high performance. MIT and the Boltz team just announced a day or two ago their Boltz Gen for binder design and beating some fantastic benchmarks there. Genesis Molecular AI today at our conference, thank you guys, announced their Pearl model, which is also crushing benchmarks on protein ligand. And this is what I mean. We're moving things into a design phase. We're moving things into multimodal. These are complex molecular systems that, if you were listening to the AI for Science panel and even Honoru at Cadence, where these things you're gonna be able to model things, and then you're gonna be able to simulate them, and you're gonna have these compounding effects of what technology is gonna be able to do, and then you'll be able to optimize them. I think that compounding effect of what AI is going to help us do in terms of molecular design is going to be quite profound. And so we're excited to announce today with the OpenFold team and the OpenFold consortium, the OpenFold 3 model is here now, and we've turned it into what we call a NIM. If you remember, we announced NIM is essentially a to-go box for models, I like to call it, where we optimize them for extreme performance so that they can be turned into essentially a microservice, and you can now run these at enterprise scale. And so as Jensen really spoke about in the session about open models and why they're so necessary, they not only allow for us to continue to build and innovate, but they allow for companies to be able to take advantage of this AI at enterprise scale and for the research and development and product development that they're doing. And so that's OpenFold has really, the consortium, they validated the model through their amazing consortium members, and now we've turned that into something that can be deployed at enterprise scale. So congratulations to the OpenFold 3 team, and we're delighted to put that into, you can go on build.nvidia.com right now, and you can start playing with it, and you can essentially download it, and it's been optimized to run optimally as a NIM. So back to the story of open models, open data, libraries. Jensen talked about how we've just completely internalized this as a company. It's an absolute company imperative that a large majority of the work, if not all of it, could be open source. It should be. And so we've, in earnest, from the model leaderboards, it's not just models, it's all of the training recipes and the weights. It's any data that we can safely put out there if we've synthetically generated them or we're collaborating on data sets. Nemotron has been an open model for agentic AI that we've been developing for some time. It's a family of a ton of models. If you're building agentic systems, I'm not going to cover it in depth here today, but you should really look at the Nemotron family. Cosmos is, as Jensen also described, it is the world-leading World Foundation model. At CES this year, it won the Innovation Award. It is phenomenal and has incredible use for us in healthcare. All of these open models actually have 100% applicability into the healthcare domain, and I'll show you how we're doing that as we go here. Groot is awesome for training robotic policy models, and then we're bringing Clara back, and we're introducing the Clara open models. And this is where we're going to take our research models in either biomolecular design or medical imaging and otherwise, and we're going to make sure that they're available in Hugging Face and otherwise with all the recipes so that you can all take advantage. I'm going to take you for a walk through some of these open models. So for biomolecular design, we've recently put out La Proteina. This is an all-atom model that can do two things. One, it can do just de novo, uncontrolled, or you can give it a sequence that has a particular function you like, give it some parameters that you would like, and it will create exquisite proteins up to 800 amino acids, where other models of this kind were really kind of falling down around the 400 amino acid size. We still need to go beyond 800, but this is a new scale of these models that we otherwise didn't have. We're super excited about the Codon-FM model, which optimizes RNA sequences for RNA design. Resin, so for synthesis, really predicting chemical synthesis pathways, an amazing application for both chemistry and materials. And then our GenMol model that's been out there for some time generates new drug-like molecules. So all of these are going to be made available on Hugging Face. This is now how you're going to see our biomedical models be made available. And we're doing this so that we can collaborate with this amazing community that's here in this room. We've have a lot of adoption across. This is the power of open, is you can work with researchers in academia, startups can take advantage of it, and it's a great place to have enterprise collaborations between companies like you see here. So we have our friends Lily in the room, and if anybody has their news feed on, they might have read something by now, but Jensen talked a moment about AI factories and how they are the creators of tokens, which is the creation of intelligence. And in the case of the pharmaceutical industry, as these open models become more and more capable, as these open models are capable of being able to learn from your proprietary data because they're open and you can have them all to yourself. And as these open models become more and more performant and you're putting them into production, R&D workflows or otherwise, you're going to require AI factories. It is not going to surprise me in a few short years that every pharma company is going to be announcing their billion-dollar supercomputer, their 1 gigawatt over here. It's coming because this industry has essentially an insatiable demand for compute and modeling biology and building molecules in silico. Let's take a look.
A century ago, Eli Lilly turned the discovery of insulin into the first life-saving medicine produced at scale, saving millions worldwide. From building one of the first factories to manufacture medicines in volume, to pioneering the use of supercomputing for medical advancements, Lilly has been uniting science and technology for over a century. Today, that innovation continues as Lilly partners with NVIDIA to build the biopharma industry's most powerful AI factory, a source of biomedical intelligence that can turn data into discoveries. This is more than a factory. It is a new scientific instrument that deepens our understanding of biology, navigates the vast landscape of potential molecules, and shapes the therapies of tomorrow. Powered by the NVIDIA Blackwell architecture, this AI factory will accelerate the development of breakthrough foundation models that understand and simulate biology, explore the infinite potential of molecules as medicines, and optimize clinical development. And like every great scientific instrument, its impact extends beyond its creators. Lilly and NVIDIA are contributing cutting-edge AI models, data, and tools to Lilly Toon Lab, a federated platform enabling startups to accelerate innovation. By uniting great research, AI, and collaboration, Lilly is delivering on its promise to turn science into healing.
Amazing. So we're delighted to be announcing an extended collaboration with Lilly to build the biopharma industry's most powerful AI factory. Based on over 1,000 NVIDIA Blackwells. Actually, Lilly was the first person to call up the salesperson at NVIDIA and order that DGX B300 of all industries, by the way. So they were the first movers. They recognized the power of Blackwell, that we are on this exponential ability to learn from the amazing historical data of large pharma, to build on the amazing momentum of the model and their capabilities, and to think about a whole different future of R&D, right? We're talking a lot about how reasoning models are going to allow us to start capturing some of the chemist's intuition, or being able to learn from some of the failed data within the walls of pharma companies, because models need to not know only what works, they need to know what didn't work as well, right? The possibilities here are just kind of infinite, and so we're really delighted to work with Thomas and Diogo, who are now sitting here in the front, on building this AI factory. So it's underway. Things are getting plugged in. You're going to see this thing online in the next couple of months. And so we're going to be working together on even building models. And so Lilly's building some of their own from scratch and innovating everywhere. And as the video described, another wonderful thing that we're excited to partner with Lilly on is Lilly Toon Labs. Lilly Toon Labs is created a federated platform where Lilly's going to be contributing some of their own models and data, and NVIDIA is going to contribute our open models to give access to a large hundreds of AI startups to be able to build upon that, right? And so it's a really wonderful collaboration, and this is what this ecosystem needs and wants, is amazing companies to see how they can facilitate a lifting of all boats and really seize, I think, this opportunity that's in front of us. So wonderful to have you guys. Thank you so much. We're very, very excited for this future. First Bio AI Factory. One of many. other areas, and you can talk to Diogo and Thomas about this, but is also, of course, manufacturing, as many of you in the pharma industry have made the same pledge to bring it back here. And all of the reasons Jensen gave you in the last talk about biomanufacturing, AI and physical AI is going to completely revolutionize that space. And so these AI factories are going to be really the backbone and lifeblood of doing that. We are also super excited today to talk about how we're joining forces with the Chan Zuckerberg initiative as well to accelerate virtual cell model development. Codon FM is one of those early ones that we're working on together, and they're bringing into their virtual cells platform. So we're going to continue to enhance. If you don't know the virtual cells platform, go take a look. Again, completely open and nurturing this where we're trying to get to, where molecular design is super important, but we also have to crack the biology. We've got to really understand biology at new, be able to model it in new sophisticated ways, to do things at multi-scale, to do things longitudinally, so that we can understand biology on a completely new realm. So one day, we'll even be able to potentially run clinical trials in cells. This is a long journey, and it's going to take a complete collaborative ecosystem approach to do it. So we're working together on open data sets, on these tools like Codon FM and Parabricks for all the data processing. We're working on benchmarks. As you know, some part of holding this field back in a way is, how do you evaluate these models? Again, this is where we need you, the subject matter experts, to teach us how to evaluate these models, but then we can build them into tooling, where it makes it very easy. Once you've gone and built a model, you can use CZ benchmarks, for example, to evaluate that model. And it's not going to be painstakingly for you to go do that. It's going to really facilitate an MLOps workflow for biology models, which today just doesn't exist. So we're super excited to work with the Chan Zuckerberg initiative on that. And their virtual cells platform is really coming along, and we're gonna juice it. Okay, I'm gonna take a detour into digital health. Our friends at Menlo Ventures just presented this last week at the health conference. I think it's a stunning chart. I think that this is telling us a couple of things. One, we have such an acute pain point in healthcare right now. I have wonderful friends here from the Mayo Clinic, and I'm sure there's other of you I just can't see in the room, who we have some existential crisis in the United States, but it's actually a global phenomenon where the demand for healthcare services is just far outstripping our supply. And then there's a whole bunch of other factors that you could enumerate that on top of that exacerbate the problem. But the reality is there is now technology that can enable incredibly new workflows. And so you see here that, what is this chart telling you? One, that healthcare providers are the ones that are deploying enterprise AI faster than any other industry in the US economy. Thank you, doctors. Thank you. I think it's good for you. I think it's good for patients. I think it's good for everybody. So I thought this is just telling. And there's a couple reasons why this is. Hopefully it's probably obvious to some of you, but let's just spell it out. Digital healthcare agents are really going to help us close the gap. I made this up because to me it just logically flowed this way. And it kind of goes from, you don't have to be a clinical professional to do some of this work, but it's some more of the clerical work, and it's still the front door almost to any healthcare service. So why don't we try to take advantage of agents to help me get scheduled? I oftentimes spend 45 minutes, sometimes longer, getting my mammogram appointment. It shouldn't be that way. I live in California. Where else could you get better health care? Minnesota. I know. So here we can, how do we get more patients into the system? When you get more patients in the system, you can make more money, right? Except we don't have enough doctors. So how could we help with all of the navigation that's challenging and preparing patients so they do what they need to do and don't eat before or bagel before their surgery and so on and so forth. So here we can actually make sure our patients are getting in there. Once they're in there, how do we facilitate the ability to have a wonderful interaction? Both an experience that is a great clinician experience, but also a great patient experience. And you're going to hear a lot about, and I'm sure you're hearing a lot about, how could we take conversations and turn them into tokens? As Jensen said, we can essentially tokenize anything now. And what a wonderful tool that we have to be able to start doing that. Because that is the upstream, just tokenizing voice is, as Shiv said in the pregame show today, it is the upstream of what is an amazing opportunity of applications and efficiency optimization downstream that can flow through the hospital. Things like documentation, authorization, or patient monitoring. And we can keep going. And you see amazing startups that are even building mental health or women's health. To help with IVF and other, with Maven Clinic and things like that. So we can start introducing many more services and services at scale because they're living in the digital world. So this, to me, with that first chart, it's happening because there's a few applications that are just undeniably helping solve some of our acute problems. And then there's just this amazing opportunity behind it. Now, computing becomes a major challenge. This is the new way software is written. The phrase I like to say is software used to be tools that humans had to use, right? Electronic health records and things like that are tools that humans had to use. Today, software is software that can use tools on behalf of a human doing something. So it's actually doing work. Now, to assemble these agents, many things had to come together. You need a lot of models. These are agentic systems. You have to do a lot of things. You have to do speech. You have to do reasoning. You have to call tools. You have to do some research on the back end. You have to guardrail and make sure it's safety, that it's not going to give a diagnosis when it shouldn't. These are complicated systems, and this takes a lot of computational power. But what I love about it is we are helping build these building blocks with our open source strategy. It's giving every researcher, developer, startup company, enterprise company the ability to build these agentic systems. And they're incredible. So here's another way to look at this. Inference, as Jensen said, is a critical problem. You just saw all those green boxes on that last slide. That's all inference. And oftentimes when you go off and you think, or you add your next set of questions, you're going through those models a whole bunch more times. And so this long thinking that you want the models to do because they're going to improve the answer for the patient or for the doctor or otherwise is going to be a critical inference challenge. Blackwell is an absolute technology marvel for this. As Jensen described, whenever in a technology single generation have you seen a 10 or 15x improvement in anything? And that again comes from that extreme co-design where it's not just the chip, it's the system, how it's connected, architected into the full Blackwell architecture with our acceleration libraries on top of it. And so Shiv and the Abridged team is one of those amazing applications that doctors, once they taste it, cannot put it down because they have just the most non-invasive, easy, no barrier to entry, an iPhone app that says, may I please record this conversation? And they go off and they make that really complicated system work in such an accurate and domain-specific way with all the safety measures and the transparency necessary, because Shiv, and he's a clinician himself, he lives and he breathes the space. He can embed that domain specificity and that all of that challenge, he can embed that into this agentic system. And they're building an amazing platform, the fastest growing AI native vertical company in history, and it's in healthcare. So those charts and Abridged and others like Open Evidence are proving that healthcare doesn't have to be a laggard when it comes to technology. We can actually run ahead, and I think we are. And so this is our opportunity at GTC to keep running ahead. So we worked with Abridged, for example, to say, their usage is going through the roof, and we want that. We actually want that. The more you can take these interactions and digitize them, the more we can learn and do with that information. But we need to make sure that we keep reducing the cost. So just even on the initial speech recognition, we're working deeply on the R&D level to reduce that cost, use our libraries. He can jump to Blackwell. He's got all the flexibility that he needs to scale this platform in earnest. So I'm also super excited today to announce a new partner of ours. So Verily is accelerating precision health AI with NVIDIA. So Verily has a new precision health platform, Verily Pre. And if many of you know the Workbench, Verily Workbench is an amazing place where researchers go to do research. And recently, All of Us data set, which is one of the largest genomic data sets, is now available through, using the Verily Workbench and the All of Us. They have the ability to bring in new tools into that and to expose researchers to some of these new ability to data process much faster, to start building multimodal language models with NeMo. We're making sure that it's rapidly accelerated for all the bioinformatics data processing. And so it's an amazing framework where they have all of the capabilities to take these really complex research data sets, ingest them, curate them, refine and enrich them, make them AI ready. That is actually the crux of the problem in this industry, is most of the data is not AI ready, whether it's research or clinical data or otherwise, or it's sitting in pharma. It's effort to do that. Verily has absolutely mastered that, and then they're putting the Workbench on top of it to really expose a large, almost 20,000 researchers to be able to really get their hands dirty and come up into the accelerated AI and computing age. So super excited. Is Verily here? There's Alex. I already said hi to Alex. So Alex, thank you. I'm super excited about this. And we're just getting started. There's so much that we're going to be building in to this platform. So this is a huge ecosystem that is starting to bloom. And I see this as a complete rewrite of the digital health stack. The digital health stack as we knew it is being rewritten. Every SaaS company is going to become an agentic SaaS company. Every one of these companies. Epic is taking this on a whole new level. You see their name popping up in many categories because you have the ability to really traverse these workflows with agents and really think about workflows completely differently. And so we're delighted to work with these partners, and this healthcare stack is the rewrite that I think we need and is going to help us unlock some incredible new future, and I call it the new chapter of medicine in some regards. And then we'll go one more chapter, okay? Physical AI. I talked to you about how important simulation is going to become in this industry, and absolutely is. There's hundreds of thousands of hospitals, almost 500,000 operating rooms, so many medical devices and new ones being built all the time. We've got 8 billion, I guess it's more than that, humans now. And at some point, we actually are going to want a digital twin of each one of us. Right, so this physical AI future of healthcare is just getting started, but it's going to be pretty amazing. When I said we build full stack platforms for healthcare, here's an example. We are announcing at the conference NVIDIA IGX Thor. This is an enterprise-ready physical AI platform for robotics. We started building this years ago because we knew we needed a real-time processing platform that essentially could take a signal to something on the display that could either be used by a surgeon or otherwise a interventional radiologist or otherwise in the tens of milliseconds. And so we had to completely design a computer that could do that. Now, with Thor, because it has Blackwell, we can actually bring amazing other capabilities to the edge, which you're going to need for robotics, and that is vision language models or vision language action models. And in fact, you're probably going to have many sensor streams coming into the platform. So we announced NVIDIA IGX Thor. It's enterprise grade. It's built for medical grade. It still has to be medically certified, but we've done an incredible amount of the work for you. Today, Diligent Robotics announced Moxie 2, which is built on IGX Thor. Moxie is using the complete 3-computer system. They train their robot in a digital twin for the hospital before it gets deployed. They're using Holoscan and the IGX platform so that they can use NV blocks and build the 3D maps and have the ability to see with those vision language models and react. And they're having they can have conversations because all of these amazing capabilities are now completely deployable on the edge. So how are these healthcare robotic systems going to be deployed? How does Diligent do it? In fact, we've built something that can allow anybody to do it. I'm calling it the hello world of healthcare robotics. At GTC Spring, we announced a domain-specific platform of Isaac. Isaac is our ability to train robots, have born a robot in a computer first and teach it in a computer first. So first you need to simulate the robot. You need to build in from the CAD. Then you're going to collect data, because if you have to collect data only in the physical world, robots will never generalize. So we collect data in that simulated environment. We then use Isaac to train the policy of how the robot should kinematically and spatially understand space and then operate. And then you want to deploy it on that IGX Thor box. You can go see this in the exhibit hall. It's a $200 3D printed robot called the So Arm. It's integrated with Hugging Face La Robot, all completely open source. And we have literally built these pipelines to do tool picking. Now, it's not the tools it's surgical tools and putting it into a tray. We have this completely implemented. And what's amazing is it all runs on that NVIDIA DGX Spark. Go see it. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen. It's about this big. So literally the hello world, you can essentially build your healthcare robotics lab for a couple $100 with that DGX Spark and with that So Arm, and you're off to the races. I want to give you a sense for how this is done at J&J.
The first cut isn't made with a scalpel. It's made in code. Before a single incision, every move, every angle, every interaction in the operating room is modeled, simulated, and optimized. Inside NVIDIA Omniverse is where design and reality converge. CAD models become photorealistic, physically accurate surgical theaters. And with NVIDIA Isaac for healthcare, robotic systems become spatially aware, ensuring safe, precise movements. Johnson & Johnson MedTech's Monarch platform is leading this simulation-first revolution in healthcare, creating digital twins of entire procedure rooms to refine every step before a patient is treated. Beyond the operating room, NVIDIA Cosmos World Foundation models generate rich, synthetic data that give life to virtual internal anatomies. These are used to train robotic AI, giving it the ability to see, navigate, and support surgeons in complex procedures. These procedures, simulated and perfected, are the future of healthcare, where virtual precision becomes life-saving reality.
It's stunning, the environments. As Jensen described, whole manufacturing plants will be in AI. Operating rooms will be in AI. And so what you saw there is how can you, A, create the simulated environment so that you can understand where to place the robot and how it's going to operate. Johnson & Johnson is introducing, with their Monarch platform, they're going from bronchoscopy into urology. And so now they have this capability that in the digital twin, they can think about how they're going to set up the operating room, they can train their medical professionals on that, and they can really understand spatially aware everything about that operating room. And we call that sort of the outside-in computer vision. But they can also use a lot of our open foundation models to take imagery that is happening in the camera inside the body, create synthetic data, and train more how the robot is eventually going to learn automated tasks that someday we will see. Because right now we're in robotic-assisted surgery. Someday we want to be in robotic surgery. So we're delighted that we're to partner with Johnson & Johnson. They're building on a 3-computer problem, and this is going to accelerate the innovation completely across healthcare robotics at J&J MedTech. I'm going to go a little fast here because I'm running out of time. We also have Clara open models that are for multimodal medical AI. So segmentation models that can do whole body 3D. You can use them for automatic labeling or interactive labeling of your data. You can generate synthetic data so that you can train better models. I saw Daguang, who's on our team from our R&D team, who's behind, and he and his team are behind a lot of these models. Most recent one is how could you imagine capturing the chain of thought reasoning of radiologists into these language models? And so again, these are models that are not out of the box for you to go deploy in the clinic. These are models to inspire you to build the next generation. And so we're delighted to put these models out there. And as Jensen already described, MONAI is the industry standard for medical AI. We continue to invest and build with the community to make it incredible. It's got over 7 million downloads. It's on an exponential growth every month. It's getting more and more traction. It helps so many of the researchers, win competitions and win the leaderboards, and it's pushing a lot of the research papers forward. Again, a testimony to what incredible open source can do. Kitware is, for example, another open source amazing platform, very, very much used in the radiology space, and they've built all of this into their VolView. So it's completely integrated. So radiologists can really start to work with these models and start thinking about how they would enhance them, train them for their own domains. And I think I'll leave you this one last example, which we're also super excited about, and that future of where there's 8 billion of us. And someday we're going to want to have a digital twin of us. And someday, in order to train that surgical robot to really deal with the patient N of 1, right, or for the situation N of 1, we're going to have to simulate the anatomy in incredibly physically accurate ways. And so we're delighted to work. Mark, you're here. This is your baby. Piensis Heart is, in working with a team to use some of these tools so that we can start to simulate incredible anatomy at incredible fidelity and use it for all sorts of applications, all sorts of med device applications, surgical training. It's just beautiful. So I am over time, but I told you I had a lot to talk about. This is NVIDIA Healthcare, but this is NVIDIA Healthcare with all of you. So I kind of open it up like it's a hug. Drug discovery and digital biology is at the forefront of doing some incredible, amazing things. The open model community is incredible. AI factories are now here, so anyone can deploy them at scale. Lilly is absolutely the first one to be there. As it said in the video, they've been using supercomputers and marrying it up to R&D for many, many decades. Digital health, I think you could see, it's a very, very exciting ecosystem. It is going into enterprise deployment, and I actually think the use cases are just infinite. And all of the software tools now are there for us to rebuild this stack and rethink workflows from the ground up. I encourage you, if you are in the healthcare professional space, you can get in the game here. You can think about how things could be different because a lot of the software and silos and of the past can be unhinged with the agentic AI, and we should really, really go for it. There's no better time. And medical devices, they're going to be born in a computer first. They're going to be born in simulation first. You're going to create whole digital spaces of patient rooms, of hospitals, of operating rooms. This is going to be, the physical AI future is going to stretch us well beyond what we have from first we're trying to create a situation for the pain point, which is the acute problem, but we still have too few people. So we've got to close that gap also with physical AI. So thank you all for coming to GTC DC. What an extraordinary time, and I thank all of you partners in the room. Thank you very much.